First, please tell us what you do and for how long have you been doing, just to have people know you a little bit better.
Great. So first of all, really great. I feel really excited to be here with you. It's a wonderful conference, and it feels really amazing, to share the stage and actually talk about our common challenges and problems. So why I'm here? Actually, I represent Foundation, which is an acceleration program facilitator in Greece, based in Athens. We run multiple programs. Right now we're running 2 different programs, one funded by the Greek government and more precisely by the Ministry of Education and Lifelong Learning. And the second one is funded by private sector, and more specific, it's funded by Cosmote, which is part of Deutsche Telekom. So we're doing, and I heard the conversation, discussion about the acceleration, we're doing the same thing. Much like our colleagues in the United Arab Emirates, working with the public sector and private at the same time. It's difficult.
So in every region has its own unique problem sets. Some are common: the lack of talent, the culture, risk-averse people not being able to find jobs, or the ones that find jobs don't want to leave the jobs. What do you think are the kind of themes that kind of emerge in the Balkans, Greece, and in the region most frequently that you see?
Yeah. To name a few, maybe 3, the 3 most important factors, it should be the talent pool. I mean, one of the basic problems we have is the knowledge gap between what the universities are offering and what the market needs. So sometimes, especially in Greece, and I do know that this example also has a validation in Romania, you have people who come out of the universities, but they do not actually know how to be a good market fit. So that's number 1. Number 2 is obviously the funding mechanism, lack of funding mechanism, and especially from what we see in the region right now, they seem, I mean, the European Union, the Commission, they seem to understand that there is a need for funding, but we're lacking of all the necessary steps. For example, we do have sufficient early stage funding options in both Bulgaria, Romania, and Greece, but at the same time, seed funding is not very well structured.
Doesn't exist almost.
It doesn't exist, yeah. We were discussing before that in Greece we don't have an angel club, for example. We don't have an angel association. We don't do actually promote angel funding by not giving them the right incentives.
Why do you think is the main risk? I mean, I'm sure there are angel investors in Greece that are forward-looking, maybe came from US or other places and have different experiences, want to create. Do you think the angels are not there because there are not enough startups with talent, or do you think there's not enough angels because, I mean, which one is the most bigger problem, the chicken and the egg?
I would go for the culture thing, and actually it's culture / pipeline. Quantity and quality of the pipeline. I mean, I don't know how many of you are aware of the Jeremy program. It's one of the main mechanisms that enabled the VC vehicles in Southeastern Europe to start investing in startups. We do have VCs funded by the European Investment Bank in Greece. We do have VCs also in Bulgaria. So the problem is that the main issue they want to enforce by creating these funds by the European Investment Bank is actually to have an anchor investor leading around, someone who's professional with European money and all the safety and security this money provides, and at the same time having angel investors that are willing to participate in these rounds. So in Greece right now, I would say that because of the talent pool, because of the pipeline is not that big, there are not many options and there are many chances for even willing, let's say willing angel investors to invest in startups. Of course there are examples, and The good thing is that if you compare the regional ecosystem today and you go back in 2009, for example, when the crisis, for example, firstly hit our country, we have come down a really long way, and we do have an ecosystem that's growing. There's no doubt about that. Back in 2009, in Greece alone, we had just 20 startups, technology startups. Right now, a recent Endeavor survey concluded that we have an ecosystem of around 200 startups strong. So we do see that there are more and more people willing to invest their time, their talent, and their skills in entrepreneurship and build their own products. The only, let's say, main challenge is right now they don't have all the tools in place.
You mentioned like there are 200 stars. What's the kind of quality of the young people? It's a huge university system, lots of young people graduating. What do you think is the main thing that they first want to do? Like, what would convince them to try a startup but not go to a company or a bank or move out of Greece? Because I also think Greece has a different problem, which is you can easily migrate to another place, UK, Europe, any part, because of the visa regulations, fairly easy. So do you think the young Greeks want to leave the country for different countries first, want to find something in their country, or do a startup?
So I think brain drain was a huge problem for our country for the previous years. Right now, it seems like we have more Greeks wanting to come back, rather than going to go out and start their own thing in England or in Germany or elsewhere. At the same time, obviously for a young guy, I would say that finding a job in a multinational company is not the rule, it's an exception. Truth be told, we do have a 60+% of unemployment rate in our ages. That's between 25-35. So the first wave of entrepreneurs who actually entered our ecosystem, I used to call them desperate entrepreneurs. So they were people who have no other choice.
Exactly.
So they started their own thing out of necessity rather than pure vision. And by that I don't mean that they didn't have the vision. It was more clear for them that I need to proceed and I need to follow this dream.
There's an external push for them to become entrepreneurs.
Exactly. At the same time, these days, I think that young people they do understand their roles, and there is no doubt. They are high talented people, well educated most of the times, and these guys, they want to do something. So I really loved when I heard before Dave McClure on the main stage earlier today saying that possibly the number one problem for declining innovation and declining entrepreneurship is about funding sources. I mean, we all have to understand we need to burn money if we want to build talent pool, if we need to build masses of entrepreneurs. If we compare all the mature ecosystems, even the ones that are in Europe, it turns out that you need to burn money during pre-seed or the 3F stages, so you have more people coming out of this filter.
One thing that's kind of that does happen all the time, when there's a crisis, like the crisis in the US, created a lot more entrepreneurs than it did maybe in the average of 10 years. When there's a crisis, there's an opportunity, and sometimes the structures pushes you to become entrepreneurs. We had this kind of experience in Turkey maybe 10 years ago. I hope it doesn't come back again, but any crisis can be turned into an opportunity, especially if you can spot out the weaknesses and if you have a good enough talent and resources and somebody that backs you up. So what do you think will happen next? What will be good in Greece in 3 years' time?
I think the big question is what's good for the region, right? Because we all understand that after a certain point, it's about regions, about masses, it's about as big as it gets. You know, think big. That's what we say to entrepreneurs, right? And I think we have to think big as well as accelerators, as VC funds. So I would like to see more regional accelerators, more regional VCs, and I do know that some Bulgarian funds, they're doing a pretty good job actually scouting the whole region. So more regional development, more and deeper cooperation between different startup ecosystems. So yes, I had this conversation with Burak, and that's how we initiated our conversation. How we can work together, how we can take a few companies from Turkey, send them to Greece, Athens, or Bucharest, or Sofia, and vice versa. We can definitely benefit from that. We can definitely benefit by the collective power of financing and knowledge we have in these regions, no doubt. So that's the big challenge for us.
Thanks. I think that's a good closure. Sometimes it feels like there's only Silicon Valley, but the quantity of entrepreneurs and the quality of entrepreneurs outside the valley is almost equal. We just need to consolidate them, maybe work together with the people in the region. And thank you for your time. Thanks so much. And I'd like to introduce, while we're here, Mohsen Malayari to kind of give us another regional perspective when we have the chance to hear this.